Welcome to Kim and Angela Talk. Kim is a biodynamic craniosacral therapist, PSYCH-K facilitator, curious human, forever student, and a loving mum. Angela is a Reiki master, PSYCH-K facilitator, metaphysical nerd, compulsive learner, and childless cat lady. Come along for the ride as they explore the mysteries of the universe and their own lives, all while enjoying a good laugh together.
Hi, I'm Angela.
And I'm Kim.
Together, we're Kim and Angela Talk. Hi, Kim. How are you today?
Yay. I'm great, and I want to share. Guess what today is?
What is it, Kim?
It's our 10th episode.
Wait a second.
Yay.
Oh, shit. I hit the wrong one. I meant to do this one. Episode 10. Yay.
Awesome.
Or maybe we'll do this.
We've done 10. Ooh, I love that too. Yay.
Okay, now I'm going to turn off reactions. Okay.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That is awesome. Can you believe it? 10 episodes.
Yay.
Yay. That's exciting.
It is kind of exciting.
Very exciting.
It's interesting because I honestly didn't think we'd get through one episode.
I don't know. I had confidence. I don't know why, but I did.
I think you're definitely more confident about this stuff than I am.
Yeah.
That's why
I'm just confident about us.
Yeah.
And what we have to talk about. And the cards. I have confidence in the cards too for
Sure.
the messages. So I just, yeah.
And that's why you have top billing. That and because Kim and Angela talk spell cat. So, meow.
That just sounds, yeah. It worked out.
It totally works out.
We love it. It's awesome. Yeah.
Well, today on our very special 10th episode, we're actually going to start with the audience message because it kind of fits into the whole idea, the theme for it. And today we got the audience message out of my Sacred Forest deck, which you also have by Denise Lynn.
Oh, I love that
It's
one.
really beautiful.
It's one of my favorites.
Yeah, I actually got this one because of you.
Yeah.
And the card is the Wizard.
And messages.
Wizard of the Woods. Mm-hmm. Oh, focus. Oh, that's funny because I had to bring it back to get into focus. And
the card's telling you.
Right? So we got Gandalf looking dude, who's of course the most well-known wizard of the world, besides Merlin.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And it says, the spirit of the Wizard of the Woods says, put your attention on what's worthwhile, loving, and beautiful. That's what will manifest in your life. What you focus on is what you create. This is the time to choose just one thing to focus on rather than a slew of things and watch miracles abound.
I love that.
It is. I love that too. I mean, it's something that we kind of talk a lot about in our daily lives, not just a podcast, but focusing on the things that the positive things of life and what you want to manifest into the world, what you want to bring into the world.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. And try and catch yourself when you start negatively spiraling and bring yourself back to even having some bad thoughts. Bird song.
Right.
Pretend you're like a dog. Squirrel. Just to kind of look at the positive.
Right. And it's definitely something.
Because these days it's easy
Oh, yeah. It's
to focus, on the negative because there's so much around we're bombarded with. So
yeah, that's for sure. I was talking to a friend of mine who is looking for a job right now, and it's not easy for him because so many people are just not hiring because they're all waiting to see what craziness is gonna come out of Washington D.C. next, and to see where things are gonna land and settle. And so there's a lot of disharmony in the world right now. There's a lot of craziness in the world. It's really hard to focus sometimes on these positive things and just really focusing on what you want to bring into the world. And especially, I think one thing to keep in mind is it's not about bringing things into the world so much as bringing things into your world. Mm-hmm. Personal manifestation.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Agreed. We're very easily distracted these days. by things,
Yeah.
and it's unfortunately news and social media and stuff love to harp on all the negative ones. I mean, even if it's just something as silly as, oh, you should be eating this, and oh, that's going to cause this if you eat that, and it's the same thing. So depending on what, you turn around and it's like opposite day. So you're like, just won't eat. That people put up, literal videos about that it's just like, oh, I'm going to eat healthy, whatever, and then they follow, but then they see a thing, and it's like, well, that's not good for you because of X, Y, Z. And so it's like you just literally can't do anything because there's always something negative coming at you for something. So definitely need to just kind of shut that, take some time out, and just kind of come back home.
Yeah. Definitely coming back to where you are at and your focus to what you want to bring forth in the world. Another card that I drew earlier today was sort of to come up with a theme. What we were talking about was this card from the Isis deck, Alana Firechild's deck, Isis Oracle.
Oh, I love that one.
Yeah,
too.
it's just a gorgeous, gorgeous one. And it was basically about bringing what you love, like what you love loves you, and putting your focus on that is what's going to bring that into your life. And that's what's waiting to be born through you and through your own awareness. So just really everything, all the cards that I feel like we pulled today really fit into the same theme. And sometimes it's really hard, I mean, things definitely get, like you were saying with the media and with everything sort of just going on in the world, you're at the space where you're like, it's sometimes really hard to focus on like what you love, like the things that the positive aspects of your life. You're focusing on your, you want to focus on what's right for you and what you want to bring forth and the I guess the world that you want to create for yourself. But at the same time, there's so many other forces outside that can really kind of like almost put speed bumps in your way or shadows or like put big signs that say, no, you can't do this, you can't do that. And it can be really distracting. And of course, we can also do it to ourselves as well, so it's not just media or whatever, our own limiting beliefs, our own negative thought patterns, our own past experiences can really also bring forth a lot of static and noise that get in the way of what we want and what we want to bring forth in our life.
Yeah, and from my experience too is that sometimes you'll have kind of a divine thought of an idea and it's really exciting and you don't have all the pieces that are going to come together, but you're like, oh, it just feels right. And then you make the mistake of potentially sharing it with a friend or family, and then you get the rundown logisticals of 10 reasons why that won't happen, or that'll be too difficult to make happen. And you're like, oh, and then you just kind of like shrink, walk away back to the drawing board and go, yeah, I guess that was a dumb idea. So totally get that.
Yeah. But I mean, there's a reason those ideas come to you, there's a reason. I mean, like this friggin' podcast is a great example of that because we did that to ourselves. Like we thought about this months and months before we started doing this because we were having one of our calls on Zoom and just laughing. And I don't know if it was the time that she said something about the meat suit not lasting forever, and then I just cracked up for like, I'd have to say like 5 minutes.
Could have been.
And then we were like, oh, we should do a podcast, blah, and and then like we thought about it seriously, but then like we just let stuff get in our way. We let stuff get like discouragement happen, right? Until
well, I mean, it kind of seemed like how do you even do that? Like we don't know how to do that. Other people do that. We don't know how to do that. So just kind of let it go.
Yeah, and then months later, we're sitting in your kitchen drinking a little bit too much. I was drinking a little bit too much wine.
We were having a
We
good
were
old
having a
time.
really good time when your daughter came in and was like, "You two should have a podcast." And we just laughed because we're like, "Yeah, we totally thought about that." So
Yeah.
and then we were getting a lot of other signs about doing this. And so finally we just did it. So we are creating our reality by doing this and putting this energy out into the world. And, if only a handful of people watch it and get a benefit out of it, it's worth it to me, for sure.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, me too.
It'd be nice because if we get more subscribers, apparently, like, we actually might make some money off of this, haha. I don't even care about that.
A lucrative $1? No,
Yeah, right?
no, either.
Apparently it's actually not a lot of money, people. But I think it'd be
No.
what I
don't
think would be
so.
awesome if, like, we started getting free Oracle decks. So from publishers.
Ooh, now that would be
That
fun.
would be awesome.
That would be a
Because,
good bonus.
look at
I like
this
that idea.
little bit of an addiction.
I don't know if we can see you on screen, but
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
it's like, this is all because of starting up with the whole
part of the
PSYCH-K
work.
stuff. I think before I started doing PSYCH-K, I had like 4 Oracle decks that I used occasionally.
I think I was in the same boat as
Yeah.
you. And then it was a very good excuse.
Yeah, I've got 10 times that
to
now.
engage with many more decks.
Yeah, I've got 10 times that more, and I use it all the time. I use, and they're funny. I actually, one of my most fun things that I do is dream interpretation. So there will be like what I interpret the dream as and like the symbols of for myself. And then I will go
Right.
for other deeper meanings to see if there's something that I missed. And that can oftentimes be very interesting for sure. So,
Yeah, it gives you good insights.
yeah. Well, now too, I love the fact
Yeah,
too that having all these decks, like if a lot of times at the end of a session with somebody, I'll be like, "Oh, do you want to pull a message from an Oracle deck?" And I think every time someone's like, "Yeah, I totally do." So it's another fun thing to do at
Right.
the end of a session. If it's not actually a part of the session, as you know, like it can actually be a major part of a PSYCH-K session.
Right.
But like if
Right,
it's
yeah.
not, or if it's at the end of like just a regular Reiki session or something else, like pulling in a message from the Oracle deck it's nice because it always gives a little bit more of insight. So, Hay House and who else
definitely.
is a publisher? Blue Angel. You guys listening? We'll do your
Anybody out
unboxing
there?
videos,
Exactly. That'd be fun.
right?
Oh my gosh. That would be amazing.
Yeah, no, because
Yeah.
they're fun. They are really nice, and I feel like they're a
Well,
great
they're
tool.
fun. They're uplifting. They usually have very good uplifting messages and something kind of maybe gentle that you just need to hear or concentrate on for the day that it's like, yeah. Yeah, I love it. And I mean, if you're having a bad day, sometimes it's like, what do I need to hear now? Because what is going on? And then you'll get an enlightening message from that too. So it's definitely a daily usage tool
Yeah.
for things. Definitely.
Well, yeah, and one of the things that we both do pretty regularly is just pulling messages like for the day. Like, what do I need to know for the day? Like, what's a message for me for the day? So, and also one of the cool things too out of here is because we both do PSYCH-K, in the message that I pulled for myself for today's podcast, there was also an affirmation. So like some will have affirmation.
Oh,
So I'll
nice.
just go ahead and pull up my thing if that works. And like, so
Yeah.
my message
Oh, yeah,
came
no,
from
no,
the
go ahead, yeah.
Moonology deck. And it was
I love that one too.
this card, the last quarter moon in Leo, and lighten up, which is actually a message I needed to hear. So sometimes it can be like, lighten up, bitch. A little bit less
Just very straightforward and simple.
right? And the
Yep.
message was, when I forgive myself, I set myself free. So I tested for that and I was weak. And I was like, wow, because we talk so much about forgiveness. And I feel like I've worked so much on forgiveness. And so sometimes, but it's like, this is a different aspect of it. When I forgive myself, I
Right.
set myself free. So before the podcast, I looked at that and I was like, okay, I read it aloud, did the testing. I was like, that was weak. So I did a PSYCH-K balance. And now, like, when I forgive myself, I set myself free and it's strong. Because that's the really interesting thing. We talk a lot about forgiving other people, and we do talk about forgiving yourself, which is actually sometimes a lot harder. But it's definitely come up as a theme for me over these past couple of weeks because I've been doing a lot of healing work on myself, and a lot of things have been coming up, and just, just general stuff, if like, things of the past and relationships and friendships and stuff, and just looking at like all this stuff from everywhere, and like, my thoughts and actions, words, deeds, all this jazz. And it's like, yeah, like you can be so hard on yourself, and just really that can be one of the things we're talking about. If you're focusing on like, why you're a terrible person, or why all the bad things that you've done in your life, or all the things that you have to regret, well, you're just putting more negative energy into the pool, you're just into your cauldron or whatever, you're just like more negative self-talk. But when you're forgive yourself, release yourself from these burdens that are really self-inflicted, then you set yourself free. It's like you cut the tugboat away, the tugboat that you're dragging, or the garbage barge that you're dragging behind you in your life. You are releasing so much weight, so much density, so that you can actually really focus on the things that you want to bring into your life. The things that you want to actualize within your life, and the things that you want to see more as a daily part of your life, as opposed to, I don't know, all the things that you could like focus on that was bad in the past. Because when you're doing that, then you're just going to be creating it in your future, right?
Yeah, that's unfortunately inevitably what happens. Yeah, you just kind of keep generating the same sort of thing kind of over and over again. So, yeah, I mean, our thoughts are powerful, right? And strong. And so to be aware of the ones that you're having, I think is really key. And then to see how to work with those, or to release those, or to forgive those, or, depending on what it is. And that's why all the different things, again, unfortunately, we probably say it every podcast, but all the different tools that we use, be it the emotion code, or Cranio, or Reiki, or PSYCH-K, to help to alleviate those. And then those internal voices of distraction for a more negative capacity can be kind of acknowledged and healed, and then released. And then it gets a lot more quiet up there, and then you have room to delve into more fun and joyful prospects for life. So, but if you're constantly like screaming that, I literally just had that discussion with my daughter the other day. I'm like, so if we wrote down everything you said, like out loud, and we also journaled down every thought that you had, what would that look like? And she's like, oh my God, that would look horrible. Because she has a lot of negative thoughts going on up there, because she doesn't feel well a lot of the time. But then we get on this loop of like inescapable negativity, and it's really easy to get trapped in that, but it's also really good to know that you can get unstuck and untrapped from that, and work through those things, and create some new fun and things in a more positive light. But yeah, our thoughts are strong.
Well, totally. And another message that was part of this card, the Moonology card, is put your attention on what's worthwhile. So what is worthwhile to you? Do you want to be putting your attention, or bringing, is beating yourself up or having a bunch of negatives, is that worthwhile? Do you know? That doesn't serve you. Put your attention on the things that are worthwhile, the good things, the positive things, the things that you want to manifest and bring into your life.
Yeah. Well, I'm just going to say we could flip into my little card that I got today, which kind of ties in with all that too, but kind of from where I'm at, which is sad. I guess when we look at it. So on the potential side, this is the message that I got. It was from a deck I don't use often, but it's very pretty. It's a Celtic card deck. And the card that I pulled out I was kind of amused by it because it's this card
Oh,
here.
blackberries.
And
It looks like blackberries, is
yeah,
it?
so it is, and I don't know how you say that. Muin. I don't know if how that's not probably how you say that. I should have looked that up, like all the other words I can't pronounce. But it in brackets it has vine, so I'm assuming that's maybe the Celtic word for vine. And the interesting message out of that little blurb was words instead of like just a total sentence, but it was like climbing, unstoppable, and then joy and riches. So, I can kind of like the blackberry, as we all know, vine kind of grows like everywhere and then like self plants itself with its like top piece. It'll come in and then start a whole new, like it's unstoppable totally.
Yeah.
So kind of bringing that kind of energy of being unstoppable in this world and then finding the joy and riches that could thus unfold, getting into that kind of creator mentality and joyful kind of concentration. But then for me, I asked for some clarification for that because I kind of got that. I'm like, well, I like that, like unstoppable and just, everywhere. But then the two cards that came up to clarify that, the first one was from, I think I only have like 2 tarot decks, but anyway, it came out of this tarot deck. And the card was, the first one that came up was the 7 of Cups, which is this card here. It's a very pretty cup.
Nice.
Cups. Yeah. Now, the unfortunate, whatever, the message. It's not unfortunate, fortunate. It just is the message. So we'll just say it's just the message. It came up like this. And the interesting thing of it being reversed was that I had looked at the deck because I have it in the deck is separate from the booklet, and so it's not in anything. So I have it in a cute little pouch. And like I said, it doesn't come up too often. So anyway, I took it out of the pouch and I went to place it down to do the muscle testing for where the card was. And I'm like, I should really make sure that I haven't, because on top of the deck, it's impossible to say whether the cards are upside down or right side up. So I looked at the deck to make sure that I had them right side up, because they're pretty much all in there, like in one direction. So made sure, did the cutting, blah, 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 blah. And then I had the card. And so I flipped the card over and it was reversed. And I'm like, how did that like even happen? Because the deck was right side up when I put it down, and all the cards should theoretically, it's not like a card I've picked before. Yeah. So it's not like when I put back and upside down accidentally, whatever, and it got mixed up in there. So anyway, but it was determined to tell me that it was upside down. So in a reverse order of 7 of Cups, it had as the message, feeling overwhelmed by choices. And unable to move forward as a result of that. Lack of clarity. Thankful, it says a turning point, awakening from confusion and illusion, end of a period with too many options leading to no decision. So then I'm like, yeah, I can kind of relate to that. But, there's a lot in my life that it's kind of like, so what do you want to do? And you could do lots of things.
Yeah, I can't relate to that at all. I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah.
Never happens, ever.
I don't know if anybody else out there can relate to that, but yeah. And so it's kind of like, there's even too many things going on to even like kind of come back to like, okay, well, let's focus on this like area of decision, because there's like so many different things, plus life's kind of things and challenges, like, can afford groceries or whatever. So then I'm like, okay, well, maybe one more card of clarification. So it was this deck again, and the card was the I'm just giggling. So the second one was this one.
Oh, okay.
The Ace of Swords. So I'm like, oh, that's so pretty. I love that color. One of my favorite colors these days, that blue. But it also was reversed. And I'm like, I looked through the deck, because I'm like, are half of them reversed? Did I put them away? All the other ones were upright. So I'm like, how these two found myself reversed? I'm like, okay. So we won't go down a downward spiral on that. But anyway, the reverse message for this particular card was lack of mental clarity, setbacks to clear understanding of a situation, and feeling stuck and confused and unsure of the right decision. So they definitely complement each other. And I'm definitely going to say they kind of resonate a little bit. So, it really goes back to that idea of, being able to concentrate on the positive. And I don't know, trying to tease out in and amongst the noise. I don't know. That definitely seems to be a theme. I was just watching something before we started the podcast, and when you told me what the theme was, I'm like, oh my gosh, they were literally talking about disconnecting from, again, like I said, people's opinions of when you have an idea, disconnecting from that, disconnecting from social media, the news, all this kind of stuff to really quiet down your space. And it's not about like, oh, I got to go meditate and clear my head, whatever. Just even go outside. We talked about this last time. Just, go outside, listen to the birds, try and be distracted by nature's noise as opposed to all the other things that are going on. I certainly haven't perfected it, and I still definitely resonate with this too many decisions. And when you have kids and you have parents and situations with all of that stuff, there's a lot of other people's lives that are involved in your life. So it's not just a straightforward, I'm going to just see what's all in here, because there's always, but then sometimes then, as we have discussed, can also become then the excuse for then not concentrating on you as well. So it's kind of finding that balance. But I think it's important, and I'm still working on that, so stay tuned.
Because I got that shit mastered, it's totally done.
Doesn't everybody have all their crap all together? And I'm just like,
that's why I have a bowl of lemons on my counter. That shows you how put together I am.
Nice.
Of course, they're all moldy.
So pretty.
But fruit flies.
Exactly. I think we're all still struggling, but I think it's that awareness, going back to that other message that you said, through yourself and your own awareness, being able to just be aware what runs the ship, I think. And so if there's a lot of negative thoughts, then this is where we have to work more on that and go back to the drawing table and start again with, okay, there's still some other things that are still hanging on. I hear one of my kids talking about trying to decide in this crazy economy, job market, whatever, like you were saying, your friend, thinking about doing some kind of training to then get a job and trying to, figure out, because it costs a lot to get some education. Is there things you can do kind of more cost effectively that, will hopefully provide a job at the end of it? And it's really hard to kind of have a focus of the end goal when there's so many uncertain things. But I think it's to go back to kind of concentrating on the positive things of like how this is, doing things that bring you joy, that will then would then lead to something hopefully that you'd be doing that would be joyful. Like instead of like, oh, well, if I do this, then it's going to do this, like kind of a more logical, because who knows, maybe it won't. And then this will change because of AI. So maybe they don't need people to do that. Like you can just go spiral and like do nothing, because it's like, is there a road? It's like doing one of those maze things, where you like start at the top and you're trying to get to the bottom, but a lot of them end up at dead ends and you keep going. And it's like, it's kind of like that thing, because you just don't know. Right. So I think we have to approach it differently. And and just see, again, I'm repeating myself, but just going over what negative thoughts we have about not being able to accomplish something that we want. Have the end goal. I want to have the job of my dreams, doing something that I love and that, helps people or something. Like, You know what I mean? And
Well, what I find really interesting, though, about all that is also the idea of the blackberry, because, like you were saying, it keeps going and keeps going. Like, if anybody who lives in the Pacific Northwest knows, like, blackberries are an invasive species. Some dude brought them out here because they were like, they are yummy, they're totally delicious. So there's the fruit is great, but they don't really belong out here. So, like, when you get blackberries, like you have to, and you don't want them where they are, you have to dig them out. There's thorns. It's painful. They keep going and going. Like you were saying, they will root themselves. The canes will root themselves, and that's how they spread. And so, yes, delicious, a total pain in the ass, absolutely. Again, because of the invasive nature, they don't really belong here. But the idea of that, the idea that, like, even with all the unpleasantness, even with all the things that go on, we keep going on. That's like what that image says. Like, we keep going on. Yes, there's thorns. You can scrape yourself. I always remember, like, just thinking, like, there's a whole mess in my backyard right now just because of construction issues and things. And so I was trying to reach for a plum tree that fruit on a plum. This was last summer. Because I had planted this beauty plum years ago, and the plums are amazing. They're so delicious, but because of the construction issues, I haven't been able to really maintain this tree. And now blackberries have started growing up around it. And I'm like, I'm not dealing with that stuff, that is not my job, right? So I was trying to reach for a plum, though, and totally got scratched real hard with the thorns. So if you think about it, along with, like, so the barriers to the things that you want is a great kind of like idea, like really great visual. But even with the blackberries, the things like it's tenacious, it keeps going, like you will think you will pull out all these blackberries, and years later they can come back because enough has been left behind. So in some ways it can very much be a great analogy for, like, those dark thoughts, those negative thoughts that we can have that have, like, little insidious roots, or the ideas of the negative programming maybe we picked up as children of, like, yes, there's these vines, these weeds inside us that can create a big tangle, and the proverbial hedge of thorns around our tower, so to speak. So that, like, we have to burn down that hedge of thorns to get to the princess in the tower, or for the princess to be like, screw this, and burn down those. Like, we are the princess in the tower, but we need to burn down that hedge of thorns to get out of the tower, right? And then that hedge of thorns being all the negative programming. But, like, is it all really gone? I mean, it's something, it can come back, especially if you add more fuel to the fire. I kind of feel like this analogy is going off a little, but you know what I mean? It's like, it's sort of like,
yes.
So there's the idea that, but at the same time, blackberries also have this, like, really yummy fruit. It's great in jam. Best pie ever made was a blackberry pie, that sort of thing, So it's like the kind of thing where it's like, yes, there's this tenacious vine that can be both good and bad, but it's also how you look at it as well, and also depending on the circumstances. So, like, where blackberries are native, there's probably not so much of an issue with them as we have out here. But, if you're thinking about this as, like, something that isn't native to you, like blackberries in the Pacific Northwest, where, like, it's been put in your system from other forces outside of you, or maybe past life stuff, or you inherited it from your family in the epigenetics way, whatever. Bad traumas, or any kind of trauma really in your life, this stuff that gets stuck into you. And then it can keep growing and growing. And part of if you feed that blackberry, if you keep watering that blackberry, and giving it more fuel, then it just grows. And, like, yeah, maybe there's still, like, little berries here and there that are delicious, but all the other mess is something that necessarily you don't want, right? So then what you got to do is really focus on the positive aspects of it, or the positive things in your life, so you can get rid of the, like, a lot of the work we do, of course, is, pulling out the vines and the thorns, keeping the precious things from it, getting rid of or transforming or releasing the things that are the thorny vines that hurt or that don't help us. Keep the fruit, the experiences, the knowledge that we've and the experience, and like how it's helped us to develop as a person. And then kind of go on into, like, get to this new level of, like, what are you focusing on? Are we going to focus still on blackberries, or are we going to focus on the plum tree, to use that as an analogy? Like, okay, maybe we just want the plum tree with all the beautiful fruit and none of the blackberries and the problems with it, So, I don't know. Sorry. Weird analogy, kind of went off on there.
No, I totally, as you were speaking, I'm in total agreement with you with where all you went. I was definitely thinking that, despite if we think we're that thorny blackberry, we still have the sweetness of the fruit. So it's still there too. And also if we kind of maintain the thorns, even though they do grow crazy, but if we cut them back during the growing season, and maybe even dig some out, that you can still have part of the bush that's there, that you can still gain the sweetness from it, but still rooted. So yeah, I mean, I'm not a massive fan of blackberry things, because they do tend to pop up where you don't suspect they're going to pop up, and then you end up, like you said, really gouging yourself. So it kind of makes you jump, kind of scares you a bit. So I think it definitely is a really good analogy for the fact that some of our prickly bits scare us, and
it hurt.
We might not know it's there. And then, and we're injured. And but if we slowly take care of it, put gloves on and go, identify, and then dig it out and, maintain maybe a smaller form of the bush, then we can reap the rewards of the blackberries themselves. And it's funny, in the card, what it tends to say too is that the blackberries, can be made into wine. So you've got intoxication and the joy, and not to say get intoxicated to have joy, but just like there's a whole bunch of elements mixed up in there, which is exactly what we have. We're just a lot of things, and that's okay. And I mean, kudos to the blackberry for really doing its thing and going, I'm here so we should also be embracing that. I'm here, and hear me roar kind of thing. And the tenacity of that we should also have for goals and precious things that we want to bring forth into the world, even if there's, things that we need to work on that are standing in our way. So
I think,
so it was a good card, I think.
I definitely think looking at the qualities,
the theme.
Looking at the qualities of something where you think, there's a lot of unpleasantness, but the good qualities and the benefits you receive from it. Because, there are thornless blackberries that aren't crazy invasive, which is nice.
That is true.
But also, and then I kind of just glanced again at this affirmation that I did as a PSYCH-K goal statement right before the podcast recording. And when I forgive myself, I set myself free. And I was thinking, kind of burning down, like if you're the princess in the tower, or prince, let's not be, or non-binary person in the tower, who is, then, and then you, that's surrounded by a hedge of thorns. Like, forgiving yourself is about getting rid of the thorns, the hedge of thorns that's keeping you trapped, and setting yourself free, realizing, there's stairs and a door. I can just actually walk out those stairs and the door. And then so basically kind of, releasing the stuff that's holding you back, forgiving yourself, not focusing on the negative talk, the reinforcing all the negative things, the damaging self-talk, the things that maybe you heard or programming you received as a child or whatever, kind of getting past that stuff, not focusing on it, and then get back to the main theme is like focus on what you want, focus on the things that you love. Focus, because the things that you love you, and so then those are the things that you want to bring into your consciousness and into your awareness. So when you focus on that stuff, where your attention goes, it grows, or what's that saying? I forget.
Where your attention goes, your energy flows.
Yeah. So focusing on the things that you want, focusing on the positive aspects, the things that you want to actually manifest in your life, is what's really important. And it's a lot of what the work that we do helps us with, because we're shedding traumas, and we can really focus. That's actually pretty pertinent to my past few weeks, because one of the things you think about is that when you are working a lot on your healing, a lot of unpleasant stuff can come up, right? And so then just to be able to kind of go through and release that, and then rather than like focus on like, oh, all this stuff happened to me, focus on, well, this is why, I have greater empathy for other people, or this is why, like, my experiences have made me a stronger person, and focus on the positive things that have come from that. And the fact is that you are then, if manifesting what you want, and like sort of like, you can get real deep into it, and it can be a bit of a bummer, but like being able to release that and say, okay, have those moments. It's not, a bad thing necessarily, but you don't want to live there. So then you start focusing where you want that stuff, the things that you do want in your life, to, I don't know, really just kind of say, okay, well, that's okay, that happened, and I want to bring more light into my life, and so that's where I'm going to be putting my attention. So
it's kind of awareness and witnessing and honoring and then releasing.
Yeah. And one of the messages from this card, the Wizard card, Wizard of the Woods, from the Sacred Forest deck, was you must be very clear and focused on what you truly desire. Because if you're scattering your energy to all this other stuff, well, then your energy's scattered,
Well, and also too, if you're doing what I do a lot, which is like, oh, we could do this and that'd be great. Oh, we could do this, that'd be great. Or we could do this, that'd be great. And it's like, no wonder the universe is going, oh, what the heck? Yeah. What do you want? Yeah. Was it the one you said 5 minutes ago?
Yeah.
Yeah. Just
focus on something. Focus on bringing one thing into your life, one positive thing at a time. Which it can be hard. Yeah. Sometimes you really kind of like, you can be real scattered about stuff. I certainly can be,
Well, I think that's where like things like journaling or meditating or those types of things, can come into play as far as, write down, make a list, make a list of the things that are working right now for you. Make a list of the things you want to be because I feel like if we pull it out and onto the paper, there's like literally a mechanism that really helps, because if it's jumbling around in there, it's just, it's kind of like you got a list of this and a list of this and a list, and you're just easily distracted. But maybe put it down and then go back and look at it and see if that feels right, or change it up and try something different. And I think it's important too, when we're talking about, where we pay attention to our energy flows, it's kind of like that really great example of like when you hear of someone having some really weird disease that you've never heard of, all of a sudden comes into your awareness, right? And then you notice for the next week that like 5 times things, you either see something on the internet talking about it and you're like, what the heck? Why is that so? Or you pass a sign at a bus thing and you're like, it's talking about it and you're like, what? But again, it was probably there the whole time, but your brain is not attuned to picking it up. So again, being more aware of positive things, then you're going to be seeing more positive things, and it's going to create that lovely positive loop for you versus like, oh, everybody's angry. You know, if you go out with that kind of intention, everybody drives crazy. Everybody's, you know, then what are you going to see? You're going to see people driving crazy and people talking crazy. And so it's, you know, it really is true with what, you know, your brain can only take in a certain amount of information. And so if it's going to concentrate on the negative, then you're going to just keep seeing the negative, and then that's going to keep generating that stuff, right? So it's kind of, you have to put a little blockade up there and, you know, decide you're going to get up and have, because I mean, you know, as soon as you wake up, you know, what's the first thought that hits your consciousness? It's like, oh gosh, I have to do X, Y, and Z, or oh gosh, you know, if somebody's like not well, or, you know, like you go. So just, again, even just waking up and just say, how about I'm really grateful that I woke up and that I'm breathing and I have another beautiful day to enjoy, hopefully, you know?
Oh yeah.
Because we fall into these patterns.
Yeah. One of the things that I learned a while ago and find to be very helpful in the morning is like when you wake up, you're kind of in that sort of like weird phase where you're like realizing, oh, okay, I'm awake now, and you're getting over the really weird dream that you probably just had. Be like, oh, I'm really grateful for the fact that I woke up in this comfortable bed. I'm grateful that I'm warm and snuggy in this bed, and I have this house over, you know, this roof over my head, and, you know, just being grateful for the little things, like starting that moment off. And it's just so little, you know, but gratitude is definitely one of the, if you're focusing on gratitude in your life, that's definitely going to bring more good things into your life, like being grateful for things. And so, like, and it can just be really simple. It's not like you have to focus on like really big things. You know, just simple, positive little things.
Yeah. Yeah. And it'll start that kind of ball rolling in a positive way throughout the day.
Yeah, it's definitely a great way to start the day for sure. Yeah. So.
Yeah. Yep. Gotta try and stay positive because it reaps rewards for sure.
It does. It does. And again, it's all about where you're putting your energy and your focus. Are we going to put that energy and focus on the negative stuff? The telling yourself how bad you are or what a terrible person you are? Are you going to focus on good things? You know, it doesn't have to, and you know, it's not like you have to be, you know, I'm so amazing all the time. I mean, it helps, you know. I mean, a lot of people will put affirmations, you know, self-affirming affirmations up, or with PSYCH-K we do like goal statements for self that are self-affirming. And sometimes people will want their goal statements to write up, and it's not like you need to keep repeating that stuff, but sometimes it's good if you want a reminder. Like I have some that I have then written down, say I just want to be reminded of this. This is something that I needed to tell myself at some point. And like you might have it up for a long time, or you might just have it up for a couple of weeks and be like, well, I don't really need to be reminded of that anymore because it's there. It's like I know it subconsciously.
Right, you've integrated
I integrated it subconsciously, but now it's also integrated consciously, which is helpful. So yeah, there's a lot of great things that you can do that improve your life on a daily basis, and a lot of them are just really, really simple, you know. And then some of them are a little bit more complicated. Maybe you do need more help. You know, do need a different modality. But there's so many modalities out there, so many ways of approaching this. And so,
yeah.
And I definitely feel like the idea of, you know, focusing on the good things that you want in your life, just in your little microcosm. It doesn't have to be world peace or world peas.
Yeah.
You know, it just has to be, every day I want to have a moment of happiness. I want to be, you know, I just want to feel good. And I feel like a lot of people think, oh, well, aren't you supposed to be like happy and healthy and amazing all the time, being that you're a Reiki this and do all this stuff? It's like, well, that would be amazing, but I'm also human. You know, I still have a human life in this existence. And so I'm definitely say that like things are on the whole way better for me, and my attitude and my experiences are more positive now mostly than like 10 years ago, or even 5 years ago. But you still have challenges in life.
Well, yeah, and I mean, I think what happens doing this work, which is the real big benefit, is that, yes, sure, challenges are going to keep coming up, and, family's going to fight or have disagreements or whatever, but the more you do the work and the more you uncover the beliefs or activations that you get as a result of maybe a fight that you are having with someone in the family, or even somebody at a store or whatever, or a disagreement or an aggravation, the more you work at it, then the less of those you're going to have, and will be able to handle the situation in a totally different way, where one, it could have like escalated and words could have been exchanged that then caused more trauma. But if you're able to kind of stay in your, more, what's the word I'm looking for? When you're, your emotional regulation.
Yeah, when you're centered.
That's not the word I'm looking for.
When you're more emotionally
that you'd be able to handle the situation,
balanced within yourself. Well, it's like our friend.
Yeah,
we were talking.
Then you can actually.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, you go. You were talking.
No. I'm just. No. I was just going to say, you can then make the situation go in a totally different direction, and you can have the pause where it doesn't become about an attack against you, even though, maybe before it might have seemed that way, but you could maybe stand back just that much more from the situation and go, oh, wow, this person in front of me is having a bad day, or their feelings got hurt because of something I did, maybe consciously or unconsciously did. And to be able to not react to it in defense and like, oh, I didn't, whatever, not taking into account where they're coming from, and just be able to, it gives you that moment of pause where they can then extend out, like, I'm really sorry that, explain to me, kind of like invite more explanation as opposed to just kind of go on the attack or defense of a situation. So sorry, you were going to say, a friend?
Well, I was just saying, we were talking in our group with a friend of ours who was saying how when just being out on like a business trip, like he was experiencing, because of all of his own work that he's done and his being centered in himself, and how he's projecting his own energy just being by the own work. He's in experiences now where people are opening up to him in a different way and calming down, like his vibrational energy is high enough that like they are just rising to it naturally, as opposed to he's not being dragged down to anyone else's level. It's like other people are rising to his level, which is basically the core of the work that we do in BCST, and also Reiki and like the energy work is like helping people to resonate and to the vibrational energy level that we're at. So then you are then when you do enough of this work and you're getting to that place, you just go out into the world and things just kind of automatically happen around you. People react differently. Yeah. You have different experiences with people. You attract good things. Yeah. And so just like, and it's like you don't really have to do this work 24/7 to have that effect and to have that experience. You need to do the work on yourself. And it's not even like that's not the main reason of doing the work. The work is, for yourself, for your own benefit, for your own soul's development, your own soul evolution. And then as you're working on your own evolution of your soul and your being and who you want to be in this world, everything just change around you and shift around you.
Right. Yep. Agreed. Yeah. No, it's pretty cool. Definitely a benefit for sure. For everybody.
Yeah. It's a good way to be. So, anyway. I'm feeling pretty complete with this podcast. How about you?
Yeah, I think
Anything
so.
to add?
Yeah, I like how all the messages intertwined once again, just like our vine.
Yeah.
Intertwining.
Tenaciously so, even through all the bramble of my
Ooh.
analogies going off into
Yes.
different areas or whatever.
And then all the little bits of juicy sweetness that we got out of it all the lovely little tidbits.
Yeah.
that's great.
So, yeah. It's interesting. It's always interesting to be able to look at these things and these messages through the lens of our lives, and also how we want to present things to the world and to others. But it's more importantly, it's really about your own inner work, I feel like, because everything else is going to follow. I mean, you're only responsible for your own inner work. You know, the things that you do, you can't change other people. You can't, you can't save the world. That's too big. One person is not going to save this world. I mean, that even awakened masters who, when they were incarnate, were not able to, change the entire world. All they could do is bring forth a message and be themselves. And because of that, it all goes out from them. Of course, as an awakened master, you have a greater impact, maybe, and that's amazing. But regular people, the more regular people like us who are doing work or who are working on themselves, the impact goes out from you. And the more people who do this work, the greater the impact. So you don't have to be an awakened master. When to make awakened master, you can just be one of like many who are doing the work.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I think the key thing there is just be true to yourself and rediscover your true self underneath all the thorny bits.
Totally.
You go back to the thorny bits.
Yeah. And look,
find the juicy fruits that lie within, and then in doing so, you show other people that it's safe to be themselves, and it's safe to find their sweet bits in amongst their own thorns. And so it's just literally allowing other people the space to be themselves by figuring out that you figure yourself out, and it's kind of like leading by example of like showing other people.
Yeah, and lighten up. Lighten up.
Lighten up. Exactly. Don't take everything too seriously.
Because the line, one of the lines that was really important for me from this card was, a positive attitude towards life now will help clear away any upsets. And I was like, well, yes, that's absolutely true.
There you go.
So stuff comes up, but like keep that positive. Keep focusing. For me, it was like more about keep focusing on the good things. The rest of the stuff is gonna take care of itself.
Yeah.
Just focus on the good stuff.
Agreed.
And sometimes it can be difficult. I mean, it's like, and the thing is you don't have to be perfect all the time. And if you put that pressure on yourself to be perfect all the time, to be amazing all the time, then you're going to just cause yourself more stress. So just be perfect most of the time. Just kidding. Just do your best.
Just be as perfect as you can be today.
Do your best.
Just do your best. Exactly.
And sometimes your best is like down here, and sometimes your best is up here. So you just, and then you even out. It's all good.
Exactly. Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. You forgive yourself your foibles and just acknowledge your humanness. And just do your best.
And now we're like Lord of the Rings, where we have multiple endings. Because I was like, oh, are we done with the podcast? Oh, but then we had to talk a little bit more.
And we kept going. We weren't quite done.
Are we going to be done now? Are we going to have another ending? Okay, we'll be done now.
I don't know. Yeah, we can be done now. So thank you, everybody, for lasting till the end.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for watching Kim and Angela talk. Please like and subscribe below. To book sessions with Kim, visit keycranio.com. To book sessions with Angela, visit thisreikilife.com. Thank you.
And what do we say? We say like and subscribe.
Oh, yes. Please like and subscribe. Yes. And my thisreikilife.com is still working. It goes to my new URL. And then, so if you want to chat or whatever, book a session, go there.
Excellent.
And yours is keycranio.com.
Excellent.
I'll put the little things down there. But yes, like and subscribe, please. even if you don't watch the whole
Yeah,
thing.
because it helps us out. Yeah, exactly.
Just once.
Sometimes we go on and on.
Yeah, it helps to, it apparently is a good thing. That's what we keep getting told. People keep telling me stuff like that. Oh, you need to have subscribers. I don't know.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, whatever.
I don't quite know how it all works, but we'll take it for that. For
Yes,
sure.
well, I know that it is our number one fan watches it all the time, and he really likes it, and he finds it very helpful. So shout out to you, number one fan.
Nice.
You know who you
Shout
are.
out to you. Exactly. Big hellos.
I don't know if he wants me to say his name on the
Awesome.
on the podcast, so I won't. But you know who you are.
Well, we appreciate each and
Yes,
every one
we
of
do.
you out there. So
We do.
We send our
Yes.
love. Oops, our love.
Oh wait, I didn't do
Yeah,
the
to all
reaction
of you.
things again. Okay, I turned off my reaction, so
do
I
it.
wouldn't do that again.
Oh,
Well, it's a
did
little
you?
awkward
Oh,
when you're on
yeah.
call
Next
with
time.
somebody. It's a professional call, and you do something, and you have like weird stuff fly up, and you're like, "Where did
is
that come
true.
from?"
But it would emphasize the emotion of
Yeah,
the
right.
moment.
It's like, ooh. It's like someone's telling you about their deep, dark trauma, and all of a sudden you have fireworks go off. It's like, oh, sorry about that.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
It's
those
Yeah.
were big. Yeah. No.
so anyway. Yeah. So thank you so much.
All
Have a great day. So we
Thank
did have
you.
multiple endings,
Until
just like
next
Lord of the
week.
Rings.
We did so many. I know.
Yay!
Pick whichever one you like and stop it whenever
Yeah,
you
right.
want. Yeah.
So yes, please like and subscribe. ThisReikiLife.com.
Awesome.
Bye.
Till next time. Bye.